Allie, I'm not gonna lie. These shoes might be some of my favorites I've seen in a while.
I need you to get closer to the mic because people
Yeah,
want to hear what you have to say, and I
My
do
bad.
like those.
My bad. I said I
you're
like these.
you're still far away, big guy.
Oh my god. I said I like those.
Oh, wow.
I like these
Welcome.
a lot, and I think these are a sleeper colorway.
Oh, the white and greens.
Okay,
Yeah.
actually, though, I feel like New Balance has put that colorway back on the map.
Oh, give credit to New Balance. We're Nike guys, but I have more New Balances back there that are
Mhm.
sleepers that I'm like, dog, these things are
Mhm.
fire. Whoever is in charge of the head of New Balance, like the new revamping,
It's
needs a
somebody.
raise.
It's somebody from Nike. You know.
No, he's not from Nike. He's actually on my flight almost every week. I'll leave his name out of it, but he flies to Boston every week the same time I fly to Atlanta. So he's like, "Yo, man, what do you need?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a Nike." He goes, "Man, listen, try some of these on." I got a pair. I said, "Yo, these shits is cracking."
Edit.
No,
No,
James
don't
Worthy.
edit. Don't
James
edit.
Worthy is
Listen.
a New Balance guy, and he rolls into the studio for every show now with a new pair of New Balance kicks. I mean,
Shout out
I
to
wore New Balance in college my first 2 years.
New Balance right now is better than Adidas and Puma. And
Truth or trash?
for sure.
Okay, we're just very uncomfortable with this conversation. However, before we dive in, welcome to another edition of Road. Oh, Channing is so boring. It's just C Fry today.
I know.
Richard and Allie.
I was gonna put a like Harden Hollywood or something like that, but it just didn't come to me.
I thought you were going to say something else. I just opened up my cellular device and I came across from Complex on Instagram. Having a sister can boost your mental health and self-esteem. I know the two of you do not have sisters, but I do. I do.
Oh, well,
my
shout
sister.
out Sister Clifton.
Sister Clifton. All right. Should we just dive right in? You're welcome. To the latest news. Were you guys awake?
No.
No. Okay.
What
I was
other
sitting on the
things?
10. All of a sudden, traffic across all 6 lanes stopped at 11:24 p.m. coming back from the Laker game last night. And I saw the tweet that left everyone hanging, the Woj bomb, as everyone was freaking out because he didn't give the details nonetheless. But for those that are just joining and maybe haven't had a chance to catch up on the latest with James Harden, the saga is over, at least for now. Anyways, the 10-time All-Star, he's a 10-time All-Star. He was traded from the Sixers to the Clippers, along with PJ Tucker in exchange for Nick Batum, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, and draft picks. So I want your guys' reaction in the letter grade that you guys would give for both squads now.
Factor.
Shout out Factor.
Mm.
Delicious.
First of all,
You know what's
I gotta-
wild about that?
I got to
Richard?
call.
I
not
literally
what?
just had one.
Shout out Factor.
Not even joking. Anyway,
I'm telling you,
Well
they're
done.
delicious.
Well done.
When I was awake, I got a text asking me if I could work today to come in and talk about this.
they
normally
said,
I
that
would.
was a hell no.
Well, it was a hell no, but normally it's a hell yes. I just had a great excuse. It's, Halloween parade time. So I was like, ooh, sorry guys. Can't, I'm already committed. I've already committed. But letter grade of the trade, they had to get him out of there in Philly. They had to. The market was trash. Right, it was not what it should have been, and it was just going to add more drama. They couldn't focus on. Did they get enough back? No, they didn't get enough back. Are they hoping it's addition by subtraction? Yes, that's what they're hoping for. And their team is good. Tyrese Maxey looks like he's going to be an all-star. So they're like, okay, we got it. Joel's not out here by himself.
I didn't think it would happen because that's a lot of guys who do the same thing. And for the Clippers, Russell needs the ball. James needs the ball. Kawhi definitely needs the ball. PG needs the ball. But I think they're like, well, let's just stack a bunch of guys. And if somebody gets hurt, we still got 3. If 2 people get hurt, we still got 2. And I think for them, there was a logjam. They have nothing but, other than Big Z, they got nothing but like 6, 7 wingmen who like played 3 or 4 different positions. So I think, bringing in a guard who can shoot, obviously spacing and shooting is great. Good luck defending them. As much as we talk about Phoenix, The Clippers are like, I mean,
The Clippers to me, if
oh,
healthy, are better than Phoenix if healthy. That's to me.
yeah.
If healthy,
I agree. If
yeah,
healthy, but
Clippers.
that's the biggest if.
And then it's a big if for both teams. When you look at how much time both teams stars, it's not as bad, but that group trio is probably the second most if you're talking about missing games of like a quote unquote big two or a big three. The Phoenix Devin Booker's been primarily healthy, but Bradley Beal's missed a ton of time.
Still
Devin
missing
Booker.
time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, like, yes, if healthy, the Clippers are a better team. Like they have like Big Zoo versus Nurkic. I'm sorry, I'm taking Big Zoo,
Yeah,
right?
all
Like
day.
all day. So it's just like you look at that and then the versatility that their team has is and the problems that they would cause for him in a pick and roll. Mm-mm.
What's the number one job priority for Tilo?
Oh,
Dealing with
emotional.
personalities.
Yeah, emotional control. And the one thing that I think there's not a person that's ever been coached by T. that wouldn't say if he can't handle it, no one can from a personality standpoint because he's honest, he's real, he has an approach. He's like, look, man, I told he was saying this about some guys last season when we talked to him. He's like, I brought him in the office. I'm like, we're gonna play three of you, whichever two of you play better in the first half, is probably gonna get the minutes in the second. Right? Like he was just like, hey, look, man, you recognize I could either just pick two and go with that until that rotation stops, or I can figure out a way if you guys are committed to it. And now all three guys are trying to go out there and ball in the first half. They're playing defense. They're trying to get those second half minutes. Right. And some there might be matchups, some there might be that. But imagine the realness of a coach of like, it ain't just shots. I'm judging you on defense. I'm judging you on rebounding. I'm judging you on you. Are you doing the schemes that we're supposed to? What's the plus minus and feel? I'd much rather have a coach come to me and say that than the Lakers are dealing with that. They're trying to play 9-10, and some guys need to get rhythm. Some guys didn't play in the preseason. Some guys, are new to the team. So it's like all of this up. They're managing LeBron's minutes. All of a sudden, you got 9-10 guys that you're trying to manage, and you're not even adding personalities in there. The Clippers, you got 7-8 guys, and you're managing huge personalities. Maybe not Kawhi, maybe not Paul George as much as Russ, but we all know that Kawhi, the rumor is Kawhi runs the franchise and can do what he chooses. That's part of a personality. It might not be James Harden partying in strip clubs, but that's something that you have to manage with Kawhi.
Yeah, defensively, that team is going to be a monster, right? I think adding PJ Tucker, I think, was pretty big.
Adding PJ Tucker, my God.
But I mean, but here's the thing. He doesn't mind, right? He doesn't mind doing conditioning drills and playing just defense and maybe getting a shot up. So like, what is that? Like the substitution patterns for that are going to be crazy. And then what plays do you run? Do you just run a 1-2, 1-4, 1-3, 1-5 screen and roll, and then whoever has a better matchup just go? I don't know what the flow. I know, but I don't know what that flow looks like. But what does that flow look like, Richard? We haven't seen anybody be successful with that since, I guess, what Brooklyn was a little bit.
Yeah, Brooklyn. I'm looking. That's what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And people forget Brooklyn had Joe Harris. Brooklyn had other shooters. They didn't have any bigs, because they had to get rid of they had Claxton, but he wasn't even this version of Claxton yet. I think he was like a rookie second year. They had to get rid of Jared Allen. So it was like now he's Claxton, but like a year or two ago it's like potential. Now I see it as Brooklyn. He's running the show. Russell runs the second team, can play with the first team, but Russ, in my opinion, is most likely the odd man out to a certain degree, right? If you need spacing, shooting, playmaking, James is better. At this point in time in their career, we're not talking about all time. At this point in time in their career, James is better from a playmaking standpoint. He just led the league in assists on a team that finished third in the Eastern Conference.
Realistically, how long do you think it's going to take?
All year.
How long are you going to give them until you can fully assess and judge?
Honestly, all year. Because
really,
they are one injury away from that. Like, that is a bridge built on toothpicks, right? And like, it's just a truth. And it's like, does James say, you know what? I don't want this. I don't like this. Does James go, are you going to pay him? PJ Tucker is older. Is Kawhi healthy? Is PG healthy? Is Russ going to buy in? Right? Trey Mann is a young man who wants to establish himself. Is he just going to play defense and roam around and not touch a basketball? Is Zoo going to touch a basketball? Like, they have so many questions. I think they're one of the most interesting teams, but I also don't think that T. Lue is going to put their best stuff out there until the last 25 games of the year.
It's all predicated on how many games they can string together. That's been the biggest Clipper issue. If they can string together 20, 25 games and know who they are when they're that team, right? If it's the one or two guys are missing games and one guy missing game, then you mix in, someone tweaks an ankle and they miss 2 weeks, and now you're just constantly just treading water. Then you get deep into 50, 60 games, and at that point in time, you're trying to get ready for the postseason, so you're not trying to push guys through things. You want to be healthy then. So all of a sudden you look at the season and you don't know who you are. Remember when the Golden State Warriors won that championship? Like when they got Clay back and all this stuff, even Clay wasn't that dude. The first, right around January 1, they were the number 1 seed. They were cruising. It was them and Phoenix. They were cruising. Then Steph got hurt, Draymond got hurt, and they kind of stumbled into the postseason. And they're like, well, how do you know you guys are going to be able to put it together? It's like, because we did it before. We know who we are when we had 25, 30 straight games. We know who we are. We're one of the best teams in this league. That confidence carries over when they got into the postseason, and they're like, okay, we're healthy now. Remember, Steph came off the bench, right? Remember, Steph came up because he was just coming back, and they're like, boom, good, we're off and running again. So I think as long as the Clippers can put together a stretch of 30 games, 25 games where they're primarily healthy and they know who they are, what their plays, what their tempo is, but that hasn't been the case for the Clippers the last 2 or 3 years. They haven't been able to string together that many games.
Not to us. Yeah, that and, there's a lot of temperament.
A lot. Yeah. And then you got personalities.
Right?
Okay, with that. Yep.
And I'll just move on. I think Philly, I give them an A+.
Okay, so I was going to say, letter grade you give the Clippers real quick. Letter grade?
A.
C+.
A. C+? No. I'm saying I give them an A because to me, this was they added a missing piece. They got better. So to me, that's an A for what they lost, for what they got. Now, personality, that's one thing.
You lose 4 guys and get back.
You get PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is a huge
PJ Tucker is
piece.
Interesting, yeah.
He is a huge fucking piece because he has the personality in the locker room. Everyone loves PJ, but PJ's also real and will have hard conversations and make shit uncomfortable for people that don't want to fucking address things. He'll do it on the court in a very respectful, competitive way. So adding a guy like that on your team.
Why would you say? Surprised if they play him at the 5 sometimes.
Yeah. Against the Golden State Warriors, why wouldn't you?
Dude, if you really think, let's go down the line. I'm not worried about Portland. Sacramento's been playing great. I'll take my chances with PJ on Sabonis for what it is.
Yeah.
Then it go the Lakers. I mean, no one's really stopping AD other than AD. So, I'll take my chances there. And then you switch with PG, Kawhi, Zoo. So that's 4 bodies on 1 AD. Then you go to Phoenix. I'm taking PJ on Nurk, right? Now, obviously, you got to throw 5, 6 different bodies. I'm just saying.
No, you're saying Nurk, the PJ is going to be able to be a Swiss Army knife for them. He's going to be allowed them to play the small ball 5. He's going to allow a lot of things. That's the part that he's the one that makes the trade, not just a James Harden and you lose a bunch of people.
Channing, I also feel like you're talking yourself up from a C to maybe a B then for the Clippers.
Kind of, yeah. I was telling myself a B.
So then let's transition to, because you were going there and I was ready to go there too, with the Sixers. You give them an A? A+?
A+.
Because of what it sets up in the future, possibly?
Yep. So 2 things. You reward your homegrown talent, right? Mm-hmm. You move guys that don't want to be there. And now I don't know if PJ was there, but obviously PJ's James Harden's boy. You remove them and you allow space for Joel Embiid. You say, Joel, we not only brought in vets that are going to complement you, I think they make another move. Personally, they're a little log jam at the 3. You have, Tobias. You have Robert Covington. You have Batum. You have it's a log jam.
Chicago's ready for a yard sale.
How do you have a team meeting after the first game? Come on, dog. Come on, man. Come
Chicago,
on, man.
Chicago so
What would
prime.
you guys have done had you guys had a
I mean,
team
get the
meeting
fuck
after?
out of here. What?
In my 17 years, I probably had 5 team meetings.
Oh no,
If
we had more
that.
than that. We had more than that.
Well,
but
you were with
I
some
was on some
serious
shit.
Did
Did
any
dysfunctional
come
friends.
after game 1 of the season?
No, God,
No,
no.
no.
God,
I
no.
started off 0 for. Like we were with the Nets, we started off like 0 for 6. Same with Utah. There were no team meetings because collectively we were all in it and pushing the same direction. So it was like, hey, we suck, but everybody, as long as we keep playing hard, we're cool. So there's no need for team meetings. There was no need. Like you knew you weren't going to be that good as long as everyone was locked in and playing hard. Okay, we understand what this is. But like a team that has talent, that has all-stars and Zach LaVine and all these dudes, that means that to me, hopefully they get that shit figured out.
Well, my question is, let's say it is Chicago. I don't know if Tyrese Maxey, Zach LaVine, Tobias Harris, whoever starts at the 4 for them, and Joel Embiid. Like, what is? I don't know. Again,
No,
that's
I
what
was
I'm
talking
saying.
about the Clippers going and getting what's
DeRozan?
no, the big fella. DeRozan's done. Vooch.
No, yeah.
Go get Vooch. Oh.
The Clippers?
I like Z. Here's what I'll say about Z. He's simple. He's physical. He is a far and away better rim runner.
Go all
Big
in.
Vooch, because I play with both of them. Vooch is by far one of the most underrated, skilled big men, but he needs touches in spacing. You have to feed him for him to really be effective, right?
Yeah.
He's not necessarily the best shot blocker, and he plays in a faster pace of game. So when you play in LA, they're going to slow that ball down, and you're going to have to turn into a floor spacer.
Yeah,
which is
that
not his best. And I was thinking about, where does Vooch go? I mean, he's almost going to have to go play somewhere where he's the 4 on offense and the 5 on defense.
That team just needs to.
Blow it up! Stop! It's gross.
Yeah, go get assets.
It's gross.
You got some young guys. Like you can keep some. You can keep Kobe White. You can keep some of these young dudes. Let DeMar DeRozan go. See if you can get a young piece and some talent for Zach LaVine. Right? Go get Scotty Barnes. Just switch it up. Change. Give yourself 2-3 more years. This ain't it. There's no one or two
so
players.
Gross to watch.
There's no one or two players that's going to get them into a contention or into a place that's above a top 5 or 6. They're not going to do anything. There's no move to make them competitive with Boston, Milwaukee. I would say the Knicks or even Cleveland. Though not saying that they can't beat those teams on any given night, but to say that they're going to have a competitive and, in my opinion, compete. Even throw Miami in there. So you're really talking about the peak of what they can do, barring injury, is the 6th seed.
Listen, and this is no disrespect to Lonzo Ball, who is a very solid NBA player. But if one player goes down and your team looks like this because you built it around that player, that castle was made on sand. Like, think about
he's missed 2 years. And he's missed 2 years, which should have given you a chance, in my opinion, to at least figure out a way to plug that hole.
What is
right?
it? Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. It's like, think about it. I'm making this up, but like a guy like Drew Holiday. Not saying he was going to go there, but you've been like, Drew, would you want to come here and be our starting point guard? If they got Drew Holiday, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, if they play well, they've got defense up top, they got some of this, they got some of this. Okay, maybe they can actually creep into that 4 or 5 spot, right, with Drew. They didn't get that. The Boston Celtics got Drew. So
let's actually stay in the East and go there next, because Channing, if you're not tweeting about the Pacers, you're tweeting about the Boston Celtics.
Hey, yo, I know it's early.
No, Porzingis.
I didn't know I don't know if it's the clam chowder, the lobster rolls. He's an adult now.
He's the 4th best player. That's what it is. He's
okay, there it is.
That's
but
what he's
everything. I was like, no way he's going to do that. He's doing all that. And he's crazy engaged defensively, where we saw glimpses of that in Dallas, where we were like, hey, yo, if he could play like this, and then all of a sudden we were like, nah, he can't do that.
Where Dallas is where you found out he couldn't. Okay, so you figured out early
He wasn't a
couldn't
number
be
2.
number one. No, you figured out he couldn't be a number 1. Then you were like, okay, Dallas, can he be a number 2? They're like, he can. He's got the talent, but it's just some. You put him on a squad like that where he's the 3-4.
It looks ridiculous.
It looks
ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous. And again, you're talking about. I think on a given night, if you would have done the draft at the start of the season, right? I think Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum all would be above Porzingis as far as like a want for a team, right? Like as far as a want for a team. So I think he's an all-star. He's a 20-point-a-game scorer, all this stuff. But you would have been like, if I could have a champion in Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, or Jason Tatum. So really on a given night, that man's the 4th best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Like
he makes Al Horford look a lot better.
And he gets the eat off of it. He gets the eat off being the 4th because they're so worried about Jason Tatum going for 50. What all of these Jaylen Brown going for 35.
Jason and Jaylen are averaging already here, though early, 55 combined, and then obviously you have KP.
Oh, they're gonna average that.
How will you guys? What will equate a successful season for the Boston Celtics?
They got to go to the Eastern Conference Finals again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing left.
For them to have they're a championship team. To not have the season be a failure, if they were to say they lost in 6 to Boston,
or like Milwaukee.
All right, my mom would say if they lost in 6 in Boston, all right, God, you're saying Milwaukee, then it's like you're like, damn, Dame caught fire or something. Okay, cool. Like you're not going to scrap the team and like we're going to blow this up like we're talking about Chicago. No, we're going to run it back. That's what we do because they're that talented and they just got to keep pushing. They got rid of Marcus Smart. They'll probably try and re-sign Drew. So
they can get, I think, one more guy off the bench. I think they're going to be even more disgusting. To me right now, I don't care what Milwaukee is doing, and this is the regular season. I think Boston is the best team in the regular season. The thing that I really appreciate is they got back to where they had success. And I've watched a shitload of Boston Celtics games over the last 3 years. Defensively, they are crazy, crazy active, and they're suffocating. They are suffocating teams. Like, I know the Wizards are hot garbage, but they were even more hot garbage when a team just suffocates you. And they couldn't run plays. Who do you switch? It's Drew, Jason, Jaylen, and Al Horford, who's serviceable, obviously. And then you have Porzingis, who's blocking 3 shots a game. So it's like, where do you go where you're going to get a mismatch or an opportunity? And that's what is exciting. So,
and Porzingis block shots. Porzingis block shots like Robert Williams. So when you
spaces the floor better than Robert. So
and he's a role threat. Like he was called the unicorn for a reason. He's just now looking like a unicorn.
Yeah.
We've talked several teams and personnel already. So let's go with your sleeper picks for the week. So I want each of you to give a prediction of a player who will go off this week and score more than his sleeper prediction. Who will you have your eye on?
Ooh. Well, this one caught me off guard. Pop quiz, hot shot.
I'm going to say, I get that reference.
Yeah.
Trae Young. I usually hate on the Hawks, but after watching some of that game last night, defensively, so they are big and lanky, and to be down 21 and to come back, and Minnesota obviously has their issues, but still the old Hawks team would have lost that game. This new Hawks team is like, let's hunker down defensively. Let's get going. DeJounte Murray is going. I think they believe in Trae. He's going to go off this week. I'm going Trae Young.
I'm going to say Cam Thomas. I don't know if he's going to exceed what his...
He's the biggest anomaly in the NBA right now.
Well, thank you for doing my homework. It's more of like I want to see if he can exceed it. If you follow the Nets, he can score. He can do this. One of the troubles with him is just like in the past when he wasn't scoring, he didn't rebound, he didn't defend, he didn't do. But boy, when he gets
sugarcoating it, Richard.
I'm not sugarcoating it. What I'm saying is that he's got to develop into more than just like I'm one of the best scorers in the world. Because I think he's starting to establish consistently that his scoring is special and he needs to just be let go. But There's not many guys ever that do that, and they're just that. I'm not saying that he can't play basketball. He's a basketball player. He understands it, but it's like he's rarely getting you 5, 6, 7 rebounds, 8 rebounds. He's very rarely getting you 5, 6 assists if he only has a 5 for 15 night. So those are the things that help to elevate a level of consistency to his game. Yeah, there's highs, there's lows. So I want to see if he can maintain this, if he can be consistent. And then for the extra credit for all the Nets fans out there, I'll say Mikal Bridges. Mikal was supposed to take over, or that was supposed to be his. He's supposed to be an all-star this year, and so for him, like these numbers that Cam is putting up, and Mikal's played well, but it's like those were the numbers you were expecting from Mikal, right? Those type of numbers. So I'm just curious to see how their team consistently figures this out.
Right.
Right,
I will say what Richard was very nicely trying to say. I think the big stigma is if you look at his record when he scores, other than last night in a blowout, they lose every single one of those games. Right now, that could be on the team, or that could be how it looks is that he is hijacking the offense. So he'll dribble down, bing, bat, boom, boom. He is I'm not going to say he's an elite scorer. He is an elite talent when it comes to scoring. You cannot deny that. But does his scoring equate to that team winning? That is my biggest question. And you know what? He can score 40, but no one says, did they win or lose? When did he score his 40, right? There's a lot of players that can score 40 when they're like, here, go, we're up by 20, right? But as Richard said, if he scored 20 and had 5 assists, he would be 6th man of the year. If he had 24 and had 4 assists, right? Consistently, right? Can he do that without clearing out the side, right? And just going. Now, it is hard to find a guy who can score like that. It is easy to just give that guy the ball and say, let's go. When everyone else, next time you watch the game, when he gets the ball, watch the activity and movement of the other players. They just watch him shoot. It's like,
yeah. Well, look, in my defense, I did say, I was like, I have not been able to watch them as much.
I watched.
I said, no. So I'm just saying, from my standpoint, I haven't been able to dissect them as much as I would like. That time is coming, but from what I watched,
funner teams to watch.
No. I know they lost a tough one. They lost a tough one to Cleveland, right? Donovan Mitchell hit
to Dallas.
Yeah, another tough one. Dallas
they're losing the teams they're supposed to lose to, though.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So right? You're kind of looking at this. That's why I'm not being critical of them. It's just more of like everyone. I think more people are seeing what he's doing now because it's the start of the season, and it's like, no, there's been signs of this for the last 2 years, and this is why, I think he hasn't really made it to that stardom or that next level yet. And so I'm curious to see if this can continue and he can do other things to maintain, because you're going to have a 2 for 12 night. You're going to have a 5 for 17 night. But if it looks like a minus 17 with 3 rebounds and 1 assist and 2 turnovers, that's tough to be consistent.
Dude.
Good work by the both of you. It's very clear that Channing is returning to work this week. Hang on, let me put a bow on this one, because Road Trippin Sleeper Picks of the Week are sponsored by Sleeper Fantasy. You can download the Sleeper app and use the promo code Road Trippin for a deposit match for up to $100. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. All right, having said that, let's go to the West. I do have one quick question. We obviously talked about, Rich, you called Wemby's first game and what we've seen so far of him. But as I'm watching that game, it was going through my mind. Now I understand the caliber of players and who Pop is, but I also want to know, how different is this season, is this coaching year going around for Pop? Like, what's going through his mind when, like, for example, you're watching that first game, right? And Wemby gets in foul trouble, and like, how is he coaching him different than if it were to be another draft pick, not this generational talent that Victor is?
Well, I think he's had other generational talents. Like, he got David later.
No, this is not new for him.
Yeah. So
third generational talent.
But hear me out. This is a new generation. How you could talk to players in 2099 when David got there and he was you can't talk to players the same way that you could back then. You can't talk to the same players like that 10 years ago. It's a different, we know this, and it's not a matter of soft. It's just a matter of like how coaching has evolved from the lower ranks, and you have to be able to adjust to it in the higher ranks. I think for him, he said culture. He said before when he got here, he had David and he had Avery and he had Sean, and these guys were great culture guys. That's who they were. When Tim got here, these guys had already instilled the culture, and Pop added to it. Then when Tony and Manu got there, he had Tim, and so for him, all of the culture that he had and built, he is now reestablishing it. He's establishing some of the younger players as leaders. He's starting to be like, hey, we need to build this culture back up, and it has to be done with the young guys. You can add a veteran guy at some point in time, but even then, veteran players, including myself, have struggled. Myself, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. So it's like they're going to be very cautious about who they bring in until the culture has been established. In my opinion, this is not anything based off of what he's saying, but it's like they're not ready to add veterans to this team. They're probably a year or two away from that, depending on how quickly. If he looks like he's an all-star next year or an all-NBA player next year, best believe that next summer, he's going to be looking at them like, okay, are y'all going to go get me some players to play with? Like, we not, because eventually you can't draft anymore because he's too good. And all of a sudden you're drafting in the 15 spot, in the 16, and then you're like, well, we got to go spend some money and get players. So I think Pop is just establishing culture. I think that is the difference between the prior years where he had that same core group to where he is now. That's it. That's his, to me, that was the number one thing that I picked up. He's like, it's up to me. I have to establish it. So that's how he's handling that. So it's not just get back on defense. It's whole package culture.
Yeah. I watched a couple games of them, and he is quick to discipline now early so that they are used to that. And that goes along with what Richard is saying. I forgot who they play. I think the Clippers or somebody. They made a turnover. The guy scored. The guys didn't run back. Timeout, right? Yelling at him as they come to the bench. What is this? Blah, blah, blah. They go back out. They make another turnover. They make another point. Timeout again. Y'all, blah, blah, blah. So, like, those timeouts are not about that game. It's about his level of expectation of how they should play. So they're going to get lumped up early, but I bet a lot of money that they are close to the play-in game by the end of the year. A lot of money. I bet you the first 25 games, they might be 9-16, 8-17. I bet you closer to the beginning of the year, that team is going to probably either bring in a vet to get him close so that he can kind of sniff the playoffs and realize if he's healthy, or they're going to say we need to build more on like what we're doing. But I think they have pieces. They're just young, dumb pieces that need to.
Well, tanking's a tough word, but when the Spurs ended up having the worst record and were the worst team in the NBA, we know that, or I like to believe that there was a level of happenstance, intention, like, hey,
we call it talent assessment time.
There's this number one pick that, hey, if we don't play that well, maybe we have a better chance at that guy, right? And so it's like, how much of it was like, Pop is starting to just let the guys play. Let's let these guys play and just play free and give them instruction and teach them how to play basketball, see what they can do, versus we need to win every single game every night. When we were playing, we need to win every single game every single night. That was the mentality. That's not the mentality that Pop is bringing into the last couple of years. What? He's in teacher mode. He's in teacher mode.
And when he gets off that teacher mode, you're going to see a difference in how.
And I think I think he's starting to do that now that you have Wemby and say, "All right, we teaching, but also, motherfuckers, how many times I got to fucking tell you, ship your ass down to the fucking G League."
All of them for him.
He'll say that shit.
For him, he goes, when you have a vet like Tim Duncan, you're only going to play so much. Anyone not named Victor Wembanyama or Sheldon Johnson, those positions are up for grabs. So if you hooping, he don't.
Did you say Sheldon?
What did I say? Sheldon Williams?
You said Sheldon Williams.
Johnson. No, Sheldon Johnson.
No.
Keldon.
Oh crap! What am I? Oh, I'm thinking about Sheldon Williams from Duke.
Yeah, I know you were.
My bad, Keldon.
I wasn't gonna tell you. I just wanted to like see Allie's nice. I was
I
gonna
tried
see
to
how
draft him on my fantasy league. He is a rebounding animal.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Road Trippin'. The guys, well done on all things NBA currently. Tomorrow we'll come back with a new episode diving into some truth or trash.